Auguro a tutti voi amici piloti italiani della Audi 90 GTO IMSA in bocca al lupo per il campionato Kamel GT. Fatevi onore, date gas e tenete alto l'onore della mia Audi Racing preferita di sempre. l'Audi 90 IMSA GTO. Ciao e in bocca al lupo, tenete giù!
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
Imola set a high bar for excitement with both races because of the lead coming down to the wire. However, today's unusual track layout may produce some unusual racing, so don't write this one off yet. Considering how many unexpected developments we've had this season, many are waiting to see what kind of twist comes with today. We'll find out soon, though, as we get ready to watch round 3 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. Snetterton is a relatively recent addition to iRacing and is admittedly more of a club racing circuit over in the UK, so it's understandable if some of our audience isn't familiar. Let's help them out by heading over to our track guide. Welcome to Snetterton Circuit. Like many British tracks that were born shortly after World War II, this venue was made out of an old military airfield. It's a mere 30 minutes drive from Norwich and offers up 3 different layouts of varying lengths. This means the track is easily able to host international, regional, and club level racing. Previously rather simple, the circuit's most recent update in 2011 introduced a twisty infield section. Still, it's mainly punctuated by 2 very long straights, the Senna Straight, where the pits are located, and the Bentley Straight, which acts as the backstretch. As you'd expect for a track born out of an airfield, there's little in the way of elevation change. However, the one spot in which you do find some undulation, it really stands out. The bomb hole dips cars down in the middle of a quick right-hand kink, causing them to have to keep a heads up lest they lose the car. The track is not without character though. Riches is very swift for a first turn and includes 2 distinct apexes. There's also the combination of Brundle and Nelson, which forces drivers to turn hard while braking. Never an easy combination to manage. The long sweeping run through Coram down into Murray's can also be quite tricky. The car will want to drift out, forcing a shallow entry into the final left-hander. But failing to give yourself a good exit will leave you vulnerable to attack down the pit straight. Perhaps not as famous as some other British circuits, this place is a bit of a hidden gem in the UK motorsport scene. Fans who get to witness racing here certainly seem likely to return. You can see 3 different layouts that they have to use today. And, well, Adam, we're using one of the shorter ones, which will make things interesting.
Absolutely. Snetterton is a circuit that tends to catch drivers out no matter what layout they race on, but the 2-mile, 3.2-kilometer, 8-turn 200 layout will provide an unusual challenge for our drivers. This layout goes straight from Montreal to the Bentley Straight, cutting out Palmer through Augies entirely. This means the track is certainly easier to handle for both classes, but the troubles, as ever with Snetterton, will be in the traffic. The Audis will struggle to keep the car tucked into the apex of Riches and Coram, meaning the Nissan drivers will need to be very cautious if they plan to use their downforce to sweep around the outside of those corners. You'll see a lot of risky, hard braking from the Nissans to get past the Audis at the sharp corners today, and the Audis need to be careful not to rear-end the Nissans as they get their tires back under them after those sharp corners. I expect that most comings together today will happen through Brundle into Nelson and through the painfully long sweeping corner/braking zone that is Coram. With a little bit of patience and a lot of bravery, the drivers should be fine, Joe, but as always, when Snetterton bites, it bites hard.
It does indeed. And of course, as the drivers get ready here in qualifying. Let's go over the points and starting with the prototypes here. Now, it does not have Jamie Hall, but he is actually tied for the lead with Fabian Gerber. Nick Schneider currently holds third with Nick Mukanos, and Guy Otero actually up in P5 for that prototype championship. We also have the GTO championship. Let's look at that.
Absolutely. Michael Houghton currently retains his lead over Phil Lake. Yuko Leskala, though, with that win last week, puts himself 3 positions above and moves Franco Scurry down to 4th position. So Yuko moving up to 3rd position. That's not going to be great for Phil Lake, considering he's only 2 points behind Phil right now. And then we have Roman Pawlowski rounding out that top 5. But this Audi GTO Championship is really starting to heat up. Keep your eyes here.
And of course, if we have anybody who hasn't watched this series before, let's go over the race details real quick. We are in round 3 out of 12, and it is a 40-minute sprint race today. Open setup for this series. Granted, this is such a simple track. I'm not sure if we'll see much variance in the way the cars are set up. No fast repairs, so if you get any damage, well, they're just going to have to come in and get that repaired if it's not enough to keep running on. There you see the penalties that can be incurred if they get a little too prolific with their off tracks. Already, we've got Fabian Gerber with his first lap done, holding the provisional pole up there in the prototypes, and Phil Lake is the provisional pole sitter down in the GTOs.
Yeah, these laps come in hard and fast around here. Under a minute for the prototypes, just over a minute 6 for the Audis as they're going around here, which makes things very exciting. Fabian Gerber sitting with that pole position. Good 2/10 over Sayandra, so actually, and there goes Tobias Gerber fast in Sayandra, so the Gerber brothers trying to take a front row lockout today.
Ooh, Andra's not going to like that. He's coming to the line, and he doesn't go faster. Andra demoted to the 2nd row where Mukanos joins him currently. Nope, make that Tobias Gerber because Nick Mukanos goes up into 2nd. Wow. So drivers clearly finding some time as things go on. What about Phil Lake as he comes to finish his 2nd lap? Currently holding the pole position by less than a 10th over Houghton. Well, now he's extended that by some margin as he goes to a 105.6. So Houghton with half a second to make up. Can't quite make up that much time, but does improve by a few tenths. So he is going to be sitting in 2nd. Letiniemi is going to be able to be 3rd down there. Let's see who else. Where is Leskala? Wow, Leskala way down the order after missing his first lap.
Yeah, but that being said, it's a very small GTO field today. It's only 9 drivers today, so that means he's not going to have that much competition to cut through to get up towards those top drivers. So things not as difficult for him today. But that being said, with the amount of Nissans we have around here today, it's going to make things very complicated for the Audis because they're just going to feel like moving bowling pins around here right now.
Well, let's hope that they're not actually bowling pins. And we've had some troubles between the classes in seasons past as Martin Krajcik on his first time lap, good enough for 8th position. The laps are so short, they can wait until the end here. It's actually pretty decent conditions as well, only 7 degrees Fahrenheit for the drivers that they are dealing with. So very cool on the track surface. And question is, will that alter how long it takes to get the temperatures up because the laps are so short and there's so few corners?
Yeah, that's actually something I was thinking. As soon as I saw that it was only 21C on track, I was thinking to myself, it's actually going to be difficult for tire warming around here. It's going to take a couple laps for the tires to really come in. I don't think these pole laps are going to be representative of the fastest laps we'll see today in the race, believe it or not, especially as we get towards the end, just because of how little the track, the tire wear is around here comparatively. Martin Krajcik coming across the line for his 2nd lap is going to improve his time, but not his position. Only good enough for 8th place at the moment.
So Roy Pruitt now, who has yet to set a time, is coming through. Actually, looks like is just going to be on his first flying lap. So we're switching over to Jamie Hall. Let's see if he can disrupt things. We've already had quite a few changes up at the front. What has he got? Is a 58.3. And that is only going to be good enough for 7th place. A shocker for Jamie after he's been so strong.
I wouldn't put the nail in the coffin quite yet. Remember, that first lap is going to be all about tire warming for these GTPs. Let's see how he does on his second lap. Hopefully it's going to be quicker.
As he comes down Bentley straight. Drivers have a lot of straightaway in this lap. Very few corners, even though it is not very long, only 2 miles in length. Comes out of Nelson and through the bomb hole, one of the few places where they've got some elevation change. The long right-hander of Corum. He's got enough time to finish this lap to see if he can get up higher in the starting positions. Comes down the center straight. 58.3 is going to have to be vastly improved for him to get up to the front. A 57.9 will do it. In fact, that's good enough for 2nd place. He puts himself on the front row.
Fantastic lap from Jamie Hall, putting in 4/10 faster than his previous. A great job from him to get up there to that 2nd position.
Seeing if we've got any drivers yet who complete laps, and nobody can because Franco Scurry has just taken some practice laps here. So, as the scary tree might still be here in the sim, it is unfortunately not scaring people nearly as much in the real world. Thankfully, it's preserved. Let's run through the starting order, see if that is scary for anybody. We've got Fabian Gerber up on the pole with Jamie Hall starting next to him. Those two have been rivals this season. Let's see if that continues. Nick Mukanos will be starting in 3rd, with Tobias Gerber being slotted down into 4th in the end. Cy Andra, unusually, I'm wondering if maybe he's been a little bit distracted by the Petit Le Mans today, and he's starting all the way in 5th with Ardo Iamaki next to him in P6. Matthias Hovdahl with a 7th place is followed by Laust Olsen in P8. You've got Martin Krejcik in 9th and Heitor Sintes Guindo rounding out your top 10. Daniel Stimon will be starting in 11th, and then behind him, Ryan Lang, Gomez, Tavera, Ruder, and Pruitt did not put times in the prototypes, and they will be starting at the back of their field.
Phil Lake's going to take pole for the Audis with Michael Houghton lining up alongside him. Reed Miller's going to line up in 3rd position with Esko Letaniemi lining up in 4th. Franco Scurry in 5th today with Richard Spichmalis lining up in 6th position. Michael Haynes in 7th. And Yuko Leskola, last car to set a time, lines up in 8th spot. And it was a very slow time. He got some damage on one of those laps, so that's why it was slow. Then we have Pablo Rangel, who's going to line up in the 8th position, or rather the 9th position. And he's going to round out our 24-car field, a fairly small field for a fairly small course today.
Yeah, that is one mercy that the drivers will get today, at least, but I imagine traffic could still play a part. As we wait for them to get started, we want to remind you, if you're looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions, from official series sponsorships to commercial placements, we have advertising options customizable to suit your company's needs. Follow the link in the description below if you want to try and get your company broadcast here on GSRC. You can see they're not doing a full lap. It is starting just before Corum and after the bomb hole. And it is going to be led by Fabian Gerber, who won last round, but he got beat by by Hall in the first race at Road America. So who is going to triumph today? Tied on wins and tied in the points. So this will be a decisive one. See who has the advantage going farther out into the season as they follow the Porsche pace car. Not going to have much time to split the classes here, so hopefully those GTOs can back it up a little bit. Looks like they have, as they're giving plenty of space. Got a ways to wait before they get to the pit entry. Porsche pace car now heading on in. Does Gerber give it some time, or does he gun it? He's waiting. He's holding it. Now he is on the loud pedal. Green flag is out here for round 3 of the Kamel GT series. The top 2 already sprinting away. Mukano's going to be able to slip into 3rd as Tobias Gerber falls in behind him. We got one car way off course in the first corner. That's Sintes Guindo. Otherwise, we are clean for the prototypes. Let's go to the GTOs.
Phil Lake got a fantastic start, but he beat out Michael Houghton by quite a ways. But Michael Houghton very strong on the brakes here. He's going to close up right in behind him. Reed Miller still in 3rd. Escalette and Niemi still in 4th. Actually, they're pretty much all as they were in qualifying right now, running single file for these Audis. Clean start.
It's clean that is Roy Pruitt, who got a little backed up into them as well. Sintez Galindo is way back there. There he is, offline. He has a lot of GTOs to pick his way through as they come into Brundle and Nelson. And it looks like Phil Lake going to be able to gap Michael Houghton out of that corner.
Yeah, Reed Miller actually had a missed shift coming out of the corner, so he backed up Esko Litaniemi. Franco Scurry trying to catch up, and Yuko Lesko has not been able to make any moves for position since the start of this race, and they're already done with their first lap, Joe.
They're going to go by very fast. Sub 1 minute laps for the prototypes with just over a minute for the GTOs. You can see our leaders hanging together. Top 3 starting to pull a little bit of a gap now. That is Gerber up in the front, the blue and white. Green is Jamie Hall. And the red machine is Nick Mukanos. Behind them, Fabian's brother Tobias starting to drop to about a 1.5 seconds back.
Oh my goodness, we just had a big moment there with Franco Scurry. He completely missed the braking zone for the first turn. He's coming back on track now using the drifting, well, not drifting, the rally pedigree of the Audi to full effect there. He nearly hit the back of Escaleta Nimiemi.
Ooh, yeah, great heads up by everybody as he goes way out into the weeds. That's one of those unique things about this circuit is there's a lot of runoff. It's almost like VIR, Adam, where it's all grass.
Yeah, and that's like, to be honest, in most places, that's gonna save you from being able to hit the outside walls, like especially in turn 1. But it also means that if you get a tire on the grass, you're going off. There's nothing you can really do about it at that point.
Let's see, now they're let go by Sintez Galindo, who's cleared all the GTOs. Roy Pruitt has gone the reverse. He had a mistake at the same time that we did with Franco Scurry, and he has fallen all the way to the back of the entire field. Meanwhile, this is Phil Lake on your screen, who continues to hold station in first over Michael Houghton. These two up to a 1.5 seconds ahead of Reed Miller.
And Phil Lake generally has better race pace than Houghton, but Houghton's been getting better luck and a little bit better consistency, hence why he leads the championship right now. But Phil out ahead of Michael is going to mean it's going to be very hard for Michael to try and pass him to take a victory away and retain his top position in the points.
I mean, is there any really good place to pass around here? Because, yeah, there's some slow corners, but I don't think any of them are really after long straights.
I mean, the only place to pass is a really risky move into Brundle, I suppose. That's kind of like the best place to pass for the Audis, but aside from that, we've lost that interior sector, so we don't really have any good braking zones for the Audis to take advantage of.
Cy Andra is already threatening Tobias Gerber. I wondered if Cy was a little bit out of place when he had his qualifying. It just didn't seem typical of him to be that far down. He's usually on pace with guys like Gerber. Right now, he's kind of stuck as he slides a little bit through Murray. And unfortunately, this is where he wants that straight line speed. He is going to keep up with Tobias. Is he risky enough to try it into Riches? He's looking. He's got the inside. He's got the straight line speed, but not the guts.
Nice from Tobias Gerber, a late braking moment there to make sure that he got that apex. Sai had to back out of it there, and this brings Ardo Iamaki back into the picture. Right in behind them is Matthias Habdahl. Sai's really getting held up here. It's really hurting him, and here comes Ardo Iamaki up the inside to try and make a pass.
Wow, it's going from bad to worse for Cy Andra. Iamaki's going to have the inside into Brundle, but not on Nelson. And around the outside, gives a taste of his own medicine. So, Cy Andra defends successfully, but he's lost a gap to Tobias.
Yuko Lesko in the Audis is currently making a pass on Reed Miller for the third position. This is going to start to stress out Michael and Phil because they know how fast Yuko is. He won last round, and he's really good at clawing his way through fields and getting up there on pace.
Nicely done by the Finn. 3 seconds to make up to Michael Houghton. We'll find out if he's got pace and clear air, because right now they don't have the traffic of the GTP cars. Speaking of which, I think we're getting to the back of the field. Fabian Gerber is on Michael Haynes. That slowed him up a bit. Hall didn't find an opportunity but they're both going to be able to successfully get past on the Bentley straight.
Both Jamie and Fabian are very fast. Fabian is faster on raw pace generally than Jamie Hall, but Jamie Hall seems to be able to navigate the traffic a lot better. I think a lot of that has to do with how much time he's spent in the Audi. He transferred from the Audi to the GTP this season, and I think that's helping him navigate the traffic this season, and that's been what's made the difference over the last couple of, well, the first couple of rounds with Jamie's better fortunes than Fabian. But Fabian, with that win, I mean, it's hard to catch up to him. Let's see how they manage the traffic as they catch up to the back of Franco Scurry.
So as they work their way through these slower cars, you can see how much better they can break into the corner. A little lockup there from Franco Scurry, and unfortunately he can't make his car disappear. Did Hall actually make contact there?
Yes, he did. He made a little bit of contact there with Franco, which set him offline, made him a bit slower through that section. So Jamie lost some time and maybe lost a little bit of front left aero in that exchange as well.
Now they're going to be approached by the battle for third because, or excuse me, for fourth, because Andra and Tobias Gerber are close once again. Sai has regained the ground. They come through the bomb hole up to Corum. They're going to be so much faster here than Scurry. They elect to go to the inside. Not really a hold up through there. They got a little bit of a break before they get to Spitzmüller.
Yeah, and this is exactly the challenge that they're going to have to deal with. The Audis, if they don't get that corner, if they don't get Carroll perfect, it's just going to be so difficult for them to get to the apex again, which means that the Nissans are just going to have to predict exactly where they are. And Nick Bucanos has been held up a little bit by traffic here, but here's that really complex section where it goes from the regular circuit to the 200 circuit. Looks like they were able to navigate it well this time.
Held up Sai just a little bit, and that did cause a wrench in the system for them, as that is Bucanos flashing his lights at Pablo Rangel, making sure he's aware he's going to come to the inside through a very tricky corner. Oh my goodness, that held up Gerber quite a bit. He hesitates a little bit. Oh, contact between Andra and Rangel shoves him through the corner. That holds him up, and now Iamaki has got a shot, but he's on the outside of Corum, and there's no chance the long way around to that one.
Yeah, that's never going to work. The Audi needs the apex of Bombshell in order to get through there. Otherwise, there's going to be contact. That's something that a lot of the Nissan drivers know, but when you're in the heat of the battle, you just want to take that apex, get through, because you're losing time to the car ahead.
We didn't get too much damage from that. You saw Mukanos having to go to the inside of Letiniemi. He'll manage to get through there. So we now have 4 in a row for fourth place. Gerber leading Andra, leading Iamaki, with Hovdal in the mix. Hovdal seems to be good at the more unusual track, so I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to work his way forward.
I think, look at all these Nissans getting held up. The battle for the lead's getting held up as well. Everything is just starting to compress together for these Nissans. We're going to go to the lead for a moment because it's going to be very tight for Fabian coming out of the final corner. He gets a decent run, but Jamie Hall is right on his tail, and they're catching up to P1 and P2. Then they'll have some clear air.
And these are drivers that aren't going to want to give away as much time. Houghton holds to the racing line, and he's going to be able to let them through. Jamie Hall having to take that awkward, shallow entry into Riches. What about Phil Lake, who has been on a tear this season? They're going to catch him here on the Bentley straight, or are they? They're starting to pick up speed. I don't know if they're going to get him in time.
It's going to be tight. I don't think they're going to be able to catch him in time, which means they're going to have to stay behind him through this entire next sector. This could hold up Fabian a lot. Jamie looking for an opportunity.
Hall certainly going to be aggressive here if he wants to try and get by through into the lead. Fabian Gerber playing patient. Nice job by Phil Lake. Holds out of the way. It'll stay in position. Gerber leads Hall.
And look at what the traffic has done to the GTO lead. You can see it on your timing and scoring to the left. 3 seconds between Phil Lake and Michael Houghton.
Tobias Gerber's off. Tobias Gerber went way wide through Murray. He's going to lose a lot of positions. There you can see him. So after he got put off with traffic distracting him, let's take a look at how this happened. Andra loves that.
And this was just a classic out braking situation. Tobias is put offline by the Audi just a little bit and carries too much speed into the corner and just can't get the lockdown. He tried to turn it out, but ends up getting into the grass.
A good job not panicking in that situation. He could have easily spun the car, but he still had to pay the price, and he is now down in 8th out of 4th from that one. Sai Andra is now released. Can he catch Mukanos?
I mean, he's already there, Joe. He's caught up to the back of Nick Mukanos for that 3rd position. And as they come out of the final corners here, it's going to be, it's tight. I think Nick's been struggling all race a little bit with a tight car, especially under braking. And this has meant that he's fallen back from Jamie Hall and Fabian Gerber. We've seen how quick Nick has been in previous rounds. It's possible that as the fuel burns off, he'll get a little bit faster, but Sai Andra is pushing very hard.
So the action today has been with the Nissans, not missing much over in the Audis. As Adam mentioned, it's separated quite a bit. So let's keep an eye here on Nick Mukanos, still leading Sai Andra. Normally, you would think that Nick would be proud of himself to be racing with drivers of this echelon, but this has become to be expected of that number 9 machine at this point. He is now among the elites in pace here in this prototype class, vying for podiums, occasionally for wins as well. Now the gap has come down ever so slightly. Andra, but he's way wide off onto the AstroTurf coming off of Murray's. Did that hurt him at all?
Looks to be fine. Andra's definitely catching up to Nick Mukanos on the straights. It's interesting because if Nick really is dealing with a tight car, it just means he got the setup just a little bit wrong, because it sure looks like he has a little bit more wing cranked into this thing than Sai Andra does, which would be really unfortunate if he planned on his advantage being the corners and he ends up with a car that's tight because of the aero.
Forward with the helmet cam of Sai Andra, continuing to chop away. Those tenths are just slowly slipping in favor of the number 2. Wide, sliding the car through. Mukanos starting to show a little bit of cracks in his armor as the pressure's getting to him. Michael Haynes stays out of the way for both of them, but now Andra is truly on that gearbox.
And Sai is ruthless when it comes to pressure. He loves to stick his car in the mirrors of the car ahead. He gets a little bit wide once again, afraid to put the power down coming out of the final corner. We saw that last lap as well. So I might have to start backing that corner down just a little bit because he's been running wide of it the last 2 times.
Doesn't seem like the traffic has been quite as bad as we feared. Oh, and is that Rangel with a smoking engine? Yeah, we're seeing puffs of smoke. That's from the number 17. Oh, and that's caused our leaders to come together because Jamie Hall is side by side with Fabian Gerber down the backstretch up into Brundle and Nelson. He's going to hold him off. I wonder if that slow car caused a little bit of a hiccup for the number 3.
Absolutely. That was Ryan Lang that was 3 wide with them as they went down the straight there into Brundle. And now Jamie, he's smelling the blood. He knows that Fabian, he's got him in his sights, but he's got to be careful. You can't push too hard. You can't push too hard around here. You have to be hitting your marks perfectly, because if you clip that grass, that's going to be the end of your race. But Jamie has a fantastic opportunity. As long as he can follow Fabian through this first corner, he might have a great opportunity into the braking zone.
Can he stick with it? No, the wake of the
Tobias
car.
Gerber's off again.
Wow, bad day for Tobias Gerber, and judging by the wheel marks that he left in the grass, I think he did indeed find the barrier. This happened in quorum. He touched the grass? What happened?
Yeah, he touched the grass on the outside, trying to avoid getting into Michael Haynes, I believe, who was on the inside. Nothing to do with the Audi there. He just got the measurement just wrong, clips the grass, and goes off.
Oh, and he's taken enough damage that he is now in pit lane. Oh, nightmare scenario for a driver who's looking at a nice top 5 today as he comes in for repairs. Back to the battle for 3rd. Andra right on the rear bumper, rear wing of Nick Mukanos once again. This time they're coming up on lap traffic within their own class. This is Ryan Lang in front of them, as they also have to navigate by Richard Spitzmuller. He's going to stay off to the right. Nicely done. And so is Lang. All right, so less drama than we feared there.
Yeah, Sai Andra definitely got that final corner a little bit better this time. So he's definitely, he's learning a little bit about what Nick's tendencies are. Nick actually goes a little bit wide through the 180 there, and now Sai's got a great opportunity if he wants to take it into Brindle.
Ooh, and he is going to take it. He ducks to the inside, but again, this is a switchback. Who's going to have the advantage? He's brave on the brakes, around the outside, and he gets it. Great stuff from Andra to move himself onto the podium as they go by a limping Tobias Gerber, who's already back out and off track once again.
Andra back onto the podium. He's got 6 seconds up to Jamie Hall in second, who still can't get by Fabian Gerber. It's up to a second gap between those two drivers up ahead.
It's be the first time we've seen Andra really in clear air, other than traffic, of course. So let's see if he can start to run them down.
And it looks like Ardo Yamaki's going to try and make a pass on Matthias Hobdal. They're going to go 3 wide there with Ryan Lang down the front straightaway. And Ardo Yamaki around the outside is going to get the job done.
Oof. Hobdal probably watching with wide eyes on that one through what is a very fast double apex first corner. As we are now on board looking back through the 007 cam of Yamaki. They're coming up on Franco Scurry now, who's moved his way back up into 6th in his class. So he's done a good job recovering from his opening error. He'll stay out of the way. No opportunity for Hobdal here.
I mean, I almost had a flashback to the PRL NASCAR Truck Series round 1. Oh, Franco Scurry went off.
Yep, he's around actually in a kind of an awkward place. Now he's going to be able to get it moving forward. I think he was just offline. So trying to let those two through. Back to our 5th place fight, and Yamaki gets a good run off of Murray. Yeah, even though he tries to break the draft, I don't think he needs to.
Yeah, Hobdal just not quite quick enough. But that being said, if Yamaki keeps making mistakes like that one, it's going to give the opportunity back to Hobdal. Hobdal definitely sees that Yamaki getting a little bit wide there. He's going to keep the pressure on as long as he can.
Matthias looking to try and get himself top 5.
Jamie Hall's had an incident in the front with I believe
Reed
that
Miller.
was Escaleta Niemi and Reed Miller, yes.
Oh my goodness. So this started with Hall. Oh, and it was actually, it starts with Hall and Haynes. He gets into the back of Haynes, and Reed Miller just basically has no place to go.
Actually,
it's the replay.
It starts with Fabian Gerber trying to go around the outside through Bombshell. That was a Bombshell.
That was Nelson, yeah.
Nelson, and that ends up slowing up Scurry.
Hall he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, it's not much that he could have done that situation except back up beforehand, but now this means that Andra, well, we're not going to get to know his pace because he's just been battling with everybody all race long. As he actually almost gets shoved over, but Hall is severely damaged. Look at the straight line hindrance for the number 5, and Andra takes it with ease.
And that means that the championship points, as long as Fabian Gerber survives this race, are going to swing in the direction of Gerber. Hall, how many positions is he going to bleed in this race because of that incident?
Yeah, but now potentially we've got the sequel, because Andra and Fabian Gerber were the ones that were battling all season long back in the fall. So, well, back in the fall, I should say, this summer, I suppose. Andra has about 5.7 seconds to make up. So can he do that on Fabian Gerber? Gerber is actually trapped behind our 2 GTO leaders, so he's bleeding time currently.
Speaking of bleeding time, Phil Lake has been bleeding time to Michael Houghton. Now, this may be just part of Phil's strategy a little bit to try and keep the tires cool, but Michael Houghton actually has been gaining significantly on Phil Lake as they continue to navigate all of this GTP traffic. That's Fabian Gerber tucked in between them. We'll see Andra coming up in the next couple of seconds on these guys. Phil Lake getting his apex cut off a little bit by There. Michael Houghton able to get straight to it. Michael's starting to navigate this traffic a little bit better now.
Didn't we see Lake do that at Imola as well? Just he kind of hung back early in the race, preserved the tires, and then suddenly he was a rocket ship at the end. That does not bode well for Houghton, who will probably be hoping to desperately cling to things if he doesn't manage to get up to the back of him by the end of this race. Oh, and Hall is hurting so badly that Mukanos has already just overtaken him for 3rd. the number 5 could be looking at a throwaway race in terms of points. Oh, and we had contact between Andra and Houghton. That's Andra trying to get the car straight once again. This happened through Wilson.
And if we stay in this replay, Houghton gets passed by Yuko Leskala because of this incident.
Wow, so he was just slow off the corner. Leskala took advantage of it and breezed on by.
And this is the pass for second that happened onto the straight. Yuko taking a good opportunity there to try and get by.
Incredibly, as we are still on the replay here, if we come back live, Hall has been able to take advantage of that, slight advantage of that, to get right back to Mukanos. He almost was able to get by, but now that they are in clear air, it looks like the lack of straight line speed is going to continue to hurt him. Who is next? That's Ardo Iamaki and Houghton. So 2 positions look like they might go away very fast.
Yeah, and the GTP battle for the top 5 is very intense right now between all of those drivers. We'll keep our eyes on Yuko Leskala and Michael Houghton as this continues. We have to take a look at that P4 battle. Here we go with Ardo Iamaki and Matthias Houghton. Houghton has not let Ardo Iamaki go. He definitely wants that 4th position back.
Shows himself in the mirrors. He's not close enough for a serious attempt. So what's going to happen when they catch up to Jamie Hall, who repeatedly gets up to Nick Mukanos every time he runs into traffic, and every time they get through these bits of the course where straight line speed doesn't matter. Phil Lake trying desperately to stay out of the way of this fight, and he is going to be able to avoid both Houghton and Iamaki, but once again he finds himself compromised in lap time.
He's got 3 seconds to play with, but that being said, it's not his teammate Michael Houghton behind him anymore. It's Yuko Leskala. We know how hard Yuko and Phil have fought before, and so I'm sure that that's starting to come into the back of his mind. But man, this battle for second place in the GTPs is really neat.
This will be for 3rd, I believe, as it's Jamie Hall currently holding that position. Losing time, hand over fist down the Bentley straight. Iamaki gets up to him, but will he be able to keep with it? No, look at that! Off the corners. Whatever that damage has done, Jamie Hall has figured out how to keep the car fast, accelerating away. Yeah, that was a very slow Lang.
Right on the apex, too. That was terrifyingly close for all of those GTP drivers.
Thankfully, it looked like he was predictable enough that everybody was able to avoid him. Going down to the inside, Hall already defending. As they come up into Riches. Can he try and pull away a little bit here? Maybe. He holds station. Another fast portion until they break hard here into Wilson. Iamaki gains some time. If he gets the run off the corner, this is going to be an easy pass. No, he spins the tires.
So that brings up Houghton back to the back of them as well. But look at this. Jamie Hall just cannot. That top speed is just gone in that machine. Iamaki to the inside, but Hall's not going to let this go.
Wow. Wow. Just incredible defense from the Dirty Torque car. He's making them work for it. Credit to Jamie. 16 minutes left to go. I don't know how much longer he can hold on like this, though.
He's going to try for sure as they go around here. I mean, he's got his teammate Nick Mukanos up in front of him that he's trying to defend the rear of a little bit here. He's also trying to retain his own points-paying positions. So things getting very challenging for these drivers for sure, but look at that, the straight line speed is not there. Ardo Iamaki goes around the outside. Jamie tries to keep it up the inside, but can't quite do so.
So there's one by. He's now off the podium. Can Houghton get through? He's looking at it, trying to outbrake him down into Wilson. It's not quite there, though.
Look at him here. Oh, maybe. He gets extremely loose onto the gas, but he'll get him here as he goes around the outside. No, he'll go. Yeah, he'll take the outside going into Brundle here, but he'll be well clear by the time he reaches the corner.
Easy pass. I can only imagine the frustration that Jamie is feeling inside that car. Interestingly, Andra, because remember long ago it feels like, got spun around when he had contact with Houghton, is still catching up, and it looks like the win is probably off the cards for Side today, as he's 20 seconds off the lead, but should catch up to Jamie Hall relatively quickly here.
And Fabian is pulling ahead of Nick Bacanos, who's currently listed in second by 14 seconds rather. So if Fabian just keeps his nose clean, he should have a win in the cards here.
Let's take stock of our GTO field because we haven't looked at them in a long time. We've mentioned Phil Lake is leading, and Leskala gaining a little bit here. It's 3 seconds between himself and Lake, so there could still be a battle for the lead by the end. They're ahead of Michael Houghton, who's dropped back to 2 seconds behind Leskala after being overtaken just off the podium because of his early problems going off course. Reed Miller is 25 seconds back. That's practically half a lap here.
Yeah, that just shows the skill of the drivers up in the lead of this group and how much speed they put onto the rest of the track. Reed Miller had his own problems and then ends up 25 seconds back, and he's still in 4th position. And he has the pace to stay with those guys.
Just a shame for Reed. Granted, it's not over yet. I could yet see some drivers have problems here today. Certainly, it seems that there are certain places that have caused all sorts of chaos. I wouldn't be surprised if with, let's see, we've still got 22 cars left. That could find itself in a bit of trouble.
Here's an interesting development.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Leskala has fallen back a little bit of Houghton. I think he had a mistake through Bombshell, which allowed Houghton to close in just a little bit. They've got Pablo Rangel coming out of the pits at the apex. He's going to brake and let them take it. Good man. He's going to let them continue to battle here, but Houghton is definitely going to be trying to get Yuko because Yuko is for sure the biggest danger that both of these Dirty Torque drivers, Houghton and Phil Lake, have for a championship attempt here.
And remember, Houghton is our points leader right now. He's losing out to Phil Lake, even if he does get by Leskala, but he wants to minimize the damage. I'm sure Michael could be thinking potentially about championship situations here. Notice it's not often he'll get a shot to try and pull one over on Phil Lake. They got separated by the traffic. That was Sintez Guindo, who's still on his recovery after a lap 1, turn 1 off track. He's up to 9th.
Yeah, this third and final sector has always been a weakness for Yuko in seasons past as well. We've seen it come back to bite him a couple of times, and it seems to be plaguing himself as well.
Interestingly, Ardo Iamaki looks like he's faster than Nick Mukanos. He's run him down to within half a second. We hop on board with Ardo. That is Nick just up ahead as he locks it up and takes a lot of curb, but manages it quite well, surprisingly well. These cars usually do not like the curbs.
Yeah, and he's with Hofdahl in the dust. Hofdahl was keeping him honest for quite a while, but Ardo Iamaki, they've now got Mike Reuter, that third car up ahead of them, the white and, I guess, tan machine, who's going to open up the apex for these guys to go by and let them through.
Nicely done. Reuter knows he's got no fight here. Iamaki doesn't get the chance this time through. 11 minutes left to go. So at least 11 laps for these cars. A little bit of a look, letting him know he's there. But that's it. No serious attempt.
Yeah, it looks like Makanos goes a little bit wide, and Ardo Iamaki outbraked himself a little bit too. These cars are starting to get a little tired. The tires starting to get a little tired around here as they go around Michael Haynes. Should be well and clear by the time they hit the braking zone for the final corner. They do. Nick Makanos took a little bit of a shallow entry, but can still get the power down out faster than Ardo.
Car certainly looks good off the corner. I wonder if Nick's got a little bit of a different setup, maybe a little more downforce on that thing. As down the center straight, Ardo did close in, so I'm starting to wonder if there's some different philosophies happening underneath the hood, around through Wilson, onto the Bentley straight, and once again, look at him shoot off the corner.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the downforce. I'm pretty sure that Makanos has some extra wing dialed into that thing compared to most of the rest of the drivers. And it is helping him through the turns a little bit, but wow, he slowed up quite a bit that time around going into Brundle. I think he's trying to back off and make sure he times this pass on Pablo Rangel well. Manages to get it done, but that closed the gap from Ardo by half.
Ardo not in position to attack, although he gets awful close under braking into Murray. Onto the front stretch one more time. Still just watches that silver and red machine disappear into the distance every time they come off a corner.
And this is one of our best battles on track. I can report that Jamie Hall is going to get passed by Cy Andra very shortly here as well. But this battle is just intense for this second position. This is a good points-paying position, and Nick McConnell is going to want to keep it, considering he's currently very tight up there for that battle in the points.
Let's keep the cameras here, but I just want to give an update that Leskola continues to fall off of Lake, and Houghton is not within striking distance, but is within a second and a half. So battle for P2 is not over, but it is not close right now down in the GTOs. This is our best fight as we watch them swing it through Coram. They're going about 120 miles an hour through that long sweeper, almost 180 degrees through that corner.
Probably 2 to 3 extra G's they're dealing with going through there, as it's such an intense corner. It's one of the hardest corners I find in racing. It's just so difficult to manage. McConnell's getting a little bit held up there by Michael Houghton. Arlo Yamaki's going to try and dive to the apex, and no!
That's the second time Houghton has gotten into the back of a prototype, and I think it's the second time it's been for second place. Ironically. I might be wrong there. It might have been for third with Cy Andra.
I mean, in fairness to Houghton, Makanos was moving across to the middle of the track there. He really had nowhere to go there. He had to turn in at some point.
Yeah, that might have been a racing incident, but I don't think Houghton is going to have many pleasant words with the prototype drivers after the race. That cost him a little bit of time as well, because he was in a fight. Remember Jamie Hall struggling to get around? Well, his woes get worse. Cy Andra going to pop him out of the top 5 here in a moment unless something drastic happens to the number 2 machine. As they come onto the front stretch, is this going to be close enough? Is there enough straight line speed? Start to pick it up.
Yeah, I think that Cy has a little bit of damage that's affecting his straight line speed as well as Jamie. Both of them going off track at the exit there. You know, we haven't talked about incidents, but these GTPs seem to be clipping the grass quite a bit.
And, well, we say that racing drivers have long memories. Michael Houghton is up in front of Cy Andra and Jamie Hall right now. I'm sure Cy is going to remember that.
So here we go with Jamie trying to get past Michael. Michael is probably done giving any sort of leeway to the GTPs at this point, so he's not going to be inclined to let these guys go by easily, and he does squeeze them a little bit going into the corner. He wants his apex.
He has to turn it sometime, yeah.
Yeah. Cy Andra is going to try and chase down Jamie Hall, but he just can't seem to get the job done right now.
So finally, someone Jamie Hall can fight with on somewhat even terms. He's still covering off the inside, cleaning up all the marbles down the front stretch. They're off the racing line. So we have a lot of lockups. You can see the smoke down into Wilson.
I think that was a touch, just a little bit of a touch there between Cy and Jamie.
Not going to want to incur more damage on the number 2. So Cy Andra's got to be careful there. 6 minutes left to go. Can't wait too long. He's got to be able to try and make this move at some point.
So this is Yuko Leskola who's up ahead of them. This is second in the Audis. So Jamie and Cy are going to have to get by, but Cy's not going to want to lose much time here. They're able to sneak by.
Leskola now running a very quiet second place. Just has to cruise home to a podium from here. Cy Andra not looking at a podium currently, the way things sit for him. Almost a shocking race for the championship contender from last season. Oh, and having to go wide, a clever move, splitting the car of Franco Scurry and Cy Andra. Oh my goodness, put that one in the top 10. An almost Schumacher, a Hakkinen sort of situation there into riches.
Yeah, this is a fantastic move from Cy Andra. He sized up the situation extremely well. Jamie going around the outside through the corner. The Audi misses the apex, and Cy just sneaks it up the inside. What a fantastic move.
Clever stuff to get him into 5th place. Now he has to pull away from Jamie Hall. We saw that they seem to be relatively close on pace from that. In the meantime, did Mukanos just lose a spot to Houghton?
No, he's been chasing down Houghton since he had his incident, and Houghton has been trying to hold on to it.
Ooh, he doesn't look very quick, though, which is surprising considering we think that Mukanos has a little bit more wing in it. He goes defensive up into Wilson, so clearly Matthias does not feel confident that he can stay ahead of that number 9 onto the Bentley straight, the longest straight of the track. Is this going to be enough? No, looks like he's not going to gain, but he does towards the end of it. There's got to be some damage on Houghton or something. He is...
Oh!
Whoa, no! They come together!
Houghton got a little bit unstable under braking there, and Nick Mukanos gets into him. They're both parked off circuit. Mukanos is going to let Houghton get back on before him.
Only thing to do here, want to take the spot away from him. Both of them suffer as Houghton returns in 5th, Mukanos in P7. Laust Olsen from that. How about this? Quiet race going from 8th to 6th now with a few laps to go. Haven't really talked a whole lot about Laust, and we have much in the past. So, Cy Andra, well, here we go. Commentator's curse, I guess, works in reverse, because I said it didn't look like he was going to have a podium, and now he's up into 3rd.
Yeah, Cy Andra just benefiting from the traffic. This is exactly what I was talking about, was the traffic around here causing so many issues, but also these guys are really on the edge of braking around here. We've seen a lot more lockups, like you said, Joe, than we're used to in the Kamel series. I just think drivers just have a little bit less experience around this track than most others, and they're struggling a bit.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the last time they came to the 200 layout, let alone Snetterton. I don't think they were at Snetterton last season.
No, I think it was maybe even like last year.
Yeah.
Early last year. I think it was when I was still driving for the series that we went to the full Snetterton layout the last time.
But not as commonly used, not terribly popular. I think Mukanos might be able to get at least one spot back as he's caught the back of Laust Olsen. So we were riding on board there with Cy for a moment. Down to the inside. He's got the desired racing line. Olsen doesn't fight it. Mukanos gets one of them back, but that only moves him into 6th.
There's going to be a lot of angry drivers after this one, I think. They're going to be angry at themselves, they're going to be angry at each other, angry at the other classes. I think it's just going to be a lot of frustration when we come out of this. Fabian Gerber, though, he's been playing it safe up there in the lead of the race, and now he puts in a fastest lap right at the end, pulling away from Ardo Yamaki. He's been being very conservative, and he's got a great opportunity here to win this, as long as he can get about 2 more laps in.
If any of the teammates of the drivers who are running the Petit Le Mans are watching this, you might want to get some ice cream for your teammate or something to calm them down and just soothe things over a little bit. Don't want a flustered driver getting in the car out at Road Atlanta. And as we watch, is this a battle for position here? Or is this, I think there's the lapped car that he...
Yeah, this is Mukanos going around Mike Reuter very easily. He's just falling. He's actually catching the back of Matthias Houghton, but with only, I believe this is 2 laps to go.
Yep.
It's going to be tight for him to try and catch up to Houghton.
It just went by, 2 to go, with a little bit more than a minute left. Mukanos with a second up to Houghton, who has 8 seconds up to Jamie Hall, so looking unlikely he'll be able to catch up to him. Hall, credit to him.
Reed Miller's off track. Reed Miller from P4 in the Audis is off track. He was pushed wide by a Nissan GTP, taking away the apex from that corner, and now he's got Escaleta Nemi less than a second away from him.
Vasco has a carrot dangled in front of him. What can he do to try? Oh! And Fabian Gerber found traffic big time. Now he's got a big lead. But again, we've already seen the importance of staying careful, Adam.
Oh man, that could have been a disaster for both him and Yuka Leskala, second place in the GTOs. But Fabian, after that scare, is going to come and take the white flag.
Make it a little bit easy as well on the last lap, knowing that that this race could still go away from him. He is going to get by Michael Haynes, who stays to the outside.
And he might pass Phil Lake, our leader in the GTOs, who's just up ahead of him on the straight here. And if he does that, this is going to be Phil's last lap. I'm sure Phil would appreciate it, to be honest. I'm sure all the drivers would appreciate it.
One left lap. It may be short, but it certainly looks like it is frustrating. He's actually coming up on his brother, too, to lap him. That's Tobias Gerber up ahead. We'll see if Tobias will let him by as well. So, up towards Corum. Is he going to stay ahead of him? No, he's going to get to the end. Phil Lake says, please end this. Gerber up to Murray's. Nice and tidy into the final corner. Gerber going to take his second win in a row here this season with victory in the UK. Behind him, Phil Lake takes his first win of the season, making it split evenly 3 between our top runners.
Fantastic races from both drivers. Both of them kept their noses clean around this, whereas pretty much everybody else had problems.
An improbable third place for Sai Andra as he completes his lap. Iamaki as well, a nice second place. Where did he start this one? 6th place. What a run for him. And then Leskala takes second with Michael Houghton winding up third at the end of the day.
And this battle is not quite over yet. Reed Miller just needs a good exit, but Laust Olsen decided to sneak in between those guys and unfortunately end the battle between Reed Miller and Esko Letaniemi for 4th place in the GTOs. Reed Miller takes advantage of that gap that was created by Laust and takes the 4th position away from Esko Letaniemi.
Gonna wrap things up here. So let's take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because all the upcoming races will be on your screen. Welcome back to Snetterton Racing Circuit. The 200 layout has left a few angry drivers. There's certainly some chatter. We said that there'd be some upset people, and We can't repeat some of the things that have been said, but Fabian Gerber might not be among them. He managed to take the win by about 15 seconds over Ardo Iamaki, who climbed his way from 6th for a nice podium here today. Sayandra completes those top 3 with 3rd after a few wrecks and a few spins really allowed him back forward. Didn't think that would happen halfway through this race. Jamie Hall with a 4th place is upset over the damage that he had to suffer through, judging by his text after the race. Matthias Hovdahl finished with the top 5 behind them, and Nick Lucanos also going backwards, winding up in 6th place. Laust Olsen with a 7th, causing a bit of ire amongst the GTO drivers at the very end, and then Martin Krajcik finishes 8th last on the lead lap. Heitor Sintes Guindo finishes 9th, and Daniel Stimon will be 10th. Mike Reuter with a P11 was ahead of Tobias Gerber, who was looking fast early in the race. Unfortunately, his own errors cost him today, and he winds up 12th. Diego Gomez Tavira was 13th and last of the finishers in the GTPs.
Phil Lake takes the win after staying consistent and clean throughout the race. Jukka Leskala comes home in 2nd place after starting way down in 8th. He was able to climb up quite quickly. Michael Houghton is able to get 3rd, but I'm sure he is not a happy driver today after getting caught out by quite a few GTPs and catching a couple of GTPs out himself. Reed Miller comes home in 4th position, a ways back of Michael Houghton after getting caught out himself a couple of times. Escoleta Niemi, it's the same story with all of the GTO drivers, coming home in 5th after getting caught out by some traffic. Richard Spitzmaller having his own battles with Franco Scurry. They both finished 6th and 7th, with Michael Haynes finishing 8th after getting involved in that incident that got the damage for Jamie Hall. Then Pablo Rangel coming home in 9th position, last of the Audis.
Got our winner in the Audis ready to talk to us. Phil Lake finally putting one on the board, taking a victory here in round 3. Phil, I don't know if you've seen what's been going on behind you, but you're probably one of the few of the GTOs in any car that had a calm race today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was calm, but yeah, I stayed out of trouble for the most part. There was some pretty questionable decisions being made. I made a couple myself, and these races are always kind of like that. You know it going in. It's going to be difficult. People are going to make mistakes. People are going to make last-minute decisions that might not be the best. So you have to just be prepared for that. Be prepared to not hit an apex every now and again, and try and make it to the end.
Makes sense. And yeah, relatively to everybody else, yours certainly seemed more calm from our perspective. This is such a unique track. I mean, it's not one of the draft tracks like we've seen in the past, but it's also not very complex. So how do you even go about setting up the car for today?
Well, my usual sort of approach is just to grab old setups of tracks that are similar and then sort of work from there and just make small changes. So once I had the gearing right, which was quite important for the sort of hairpin / chicane thing to get onto the back straight. Once that was right, it was just lots of laps and getting as close as you can to the grass without touching it is really important here. So just lots of practice and then keep your nose clean.
Well, next round is going to be a super speedway, literally, because we're heading to Daytona, but it is the NASCAR version of the road course. Are you looking forward to having the extra challenge at the end of the lap there?
Yeah, unlike pretty much everybody else, I really enjoy these tracks and really don't like the big draft tracks. It's hard to break away. So if you have the best pace in the field, you can't get away at tracks like that. So it doesn't sort of mean anything. So I like the idea of the chicane. I think it fixes the big problem I always had with Daytona, which is drafting over the line on the last lap. You don't actually want to lead the race, which is weird. So it should fix that issue. People will want to be in the front on the last lap.
Makes sense to me. Well, congratulations on taking your first victory of the season, and can't wait to see you at Daytona.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll see you there.
Lake, our winner today in the GTOs. And we have our winner in the prototypes as Adam is caught up with Fabian Gerber.
Yeah, Fabian, definitely an eventful race today for everybody, but you had quite the lead there at the end. Talk to me about your race and the traffic today.
It was all okay. I didn't have too many hairy situations. Sometimes you weren't sure, but I was playing safe all the time. It was my strategy to be better safe than sorry in every situation. So I guess that helped a lot to come home safely.
And how about that scary moment, the penultimate lap, where under braking coming through Corum, you and Yuko almost getting together? I think Yuko just locked up the brakes a little bit, and you got pretty close. Was that representative of the day, or was that an outlier?
Yeah, that was an exception for me, but it wouldn't have been necessary actually. So near to the end of the race with having a win almost in the back, but it was just a misunderstanding. He thought I would go through to the inside, and I wanted to go through to the outside. It was always very sketchy which line to choose, because when you came out of the bomb hole, sometimes it was clear you go to the inside, and sometimes it wasn't quite clear, and that's the misunderstanding. So there are no hard feelings anyway.
Absolutely, Fabian. You've been very consistent this season. It's been tight between you and Jamie, but with Jamie having this mistake, this puts you in a good position for the championship. What are your thoughts going into the next round?
It wasn't actually Jamie's mistake today. It was just an unfortunate situation for him, and he couldn't react in time. So that was tough for him to swallow today. But it happens to everyone. Happened to me a lot of times. So it's part of the championship. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes not. But next week, I don't know. I'm not a big friend of the additional chicane, so I have mixed feelings. So, but we will see. It's still Daytona. I love Daytona, so maybe it's gonna be as good. I don't know yet, but I surely look forward to it.
Well, Fabian, great to talk to you, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Daytona.
Yes, me too. See you next week. Bye, guys.
All right, that was Fabian Gerber, our first place finisher in the GTPs. And we have Michael Houghton, who finished in third in the Audis.
Started this one in second, and Michael, judging by the chat and the race afterwards, it looks like just supreme frustration from today. I mean, tell us about it.
Yeah, I thought I had a pretty decent race up until I think the leaders passed us the first or the second time, and I got behind Sai and turned him over. Unfortunately, I thought I had given him enough room, but he told me after the race that Nissan's hitbox might be a little bigger than it looks. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. And after that happened, I kind of figured, well, this is only the tip of the iceberg. I know that more stuff is going to happen, and it did. I managed to take out 3 or 4 Nissans, and yeah, it's not the way I wanted to go.
You reset yourself for the next round on these, or even the next race if you find yourself with more opportunities to race, since this is iRacing. This isn't the only one we have for the week. I mean, do you have anything special that you try and do with your head to get you in the mood to go for another one?
For another race, just kind of reset. I forget whatever happened this week. I usually forget in the first couple hours. You know, you have that frustration where you feel like it's going to ruin your day, but 2 or 3 hours after it, it's gone, and your mind is clear, and then on to the next one.
I'm glad you're able to put it behind you at least. It's a small community here. Is there going to be some more chatter throughout the week between yourself and a few people?
Well, I hope not in the way I did it today. I kind of said some things that I should have kept to myself, but yeah, it's still a fun series. Just some tracks are crazier than others, and I know that Daytona is up next, so it's going to be a lottery to which is going to win, not who's going to survive, as opposed to this one, which was who's going to survive. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and looking forward to hopefully extending my lead. I think I'm still in the lead, and yeah, see what happens.
Look out for that. See where you sit. Again, commiserations, but congratulations also, because you still got a podium, sir.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week.
Houghton, another quick one. Other podium finisher, third place for Sai Andra, and this should be an interesting one between Adam and Sai.
Yeah, Sai, I think you were one of the ones who Michael Houghton apologetically talked about catching up. Talk to me about your race and your recovery back to third.
It actually didn't sink in that I was on the podium until a few minutes ago. I kind of just, after I got spun, I kind of just trying to get back positions. I didn't even notice Matthias and Nick going off in front of me. I didn't see them, so I thought I was still in 5th or 6th. So that should tell you what my race was like. It was a poor qualifying effort from me, to be honest. So I think I was coming through the pack pretty well until I had the incident. I think I may have, with some luck in traffic, I may have been able to catch Fabian, but I think second was the best I was going to get tonight, and third isn't that much worse.
Absolutely. You did an excellent job making your way back through the field. And was it traffic that defined this one today, or is it just the challenges of this course?
I think just big balls in some of these corners is what defines this track, especially in sector 2 and 3. Just how late do you dare to go? Because these Nissans do not like curved braking zones, and a lot of the hard braking zones on this track aren't straight at all. So, and I think that's where I made up a lot of my time, just being able to balance the car on the brakes better and being able to go deeper and also not outbrake myself like I saw when Tobias went off at the final corner. That's very easy to do in these cars, and vice versa. Make sure that you get the traction out of the corners, because the only real straights that you can pass on are both out of slow corners. So those two things mainly.
Yep, and that's what we saw a lot of today. But Cy, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Daytona.
Thank you.
That was Cy Andra, our third place finisher in the GTPs. Back to you, Joe.
Tips on how I get faster around here, and I guess it'll take some modifications. So let's close up for today, and let's also give a big thank you to the Kamel Series for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And if you want to advertise on GSRC, make sure and check out the link in the description below, because we have information on how you can get your company broadcast here on the channel. Thanks go out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media, which includes Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_cram. If you'd like to support us, we got a merchandise store also linked in the description below. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed yet, do so that you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race, as we mentioned, heading off to Daytona for a new layout for this series. That'll be Saturday, October 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar, including coming up in just a few hours' time. Bootleg has the Grand National Series going to 5 Flags. That'll be at 8:50 p.m. Eastern this evening. However, until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.